Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Bumi and today we are watching Optimizing Stealth Builds by TierZoo. Yes, it's been a hot minute since we watched a TierZoo video, so I'm I'm excited to check this out. When it comes to gamings, if there's an option to be a stealth archer, that is probably what I tend to build towards. I'm talking about you, Skyrim. Yeah, no matter how many times you're gonna say that you're gonna do a different build this time, you're always gonna end up being a stealth archer in Skyrim. But yeah, stealth is a very interesting thing, at least when it comes to games, simply because stealth usually is paired with critical strikes, and most of those do too much damage that almost always one hits unwary foes. So it's interesting to see how this gets applied in animals. Of course, we have one of the masters of stealth attacks, the snakes. Some of them are very much highly optimized for stealth. So much so that a lot of people actually get bitten because they don't notice them slithering around, or even when they're just on standby, they people pass by and don't even realize that they've actually stepped on a snake and then end up getting bit. So yeah, aside from the snake, I'm excited to see what other animals we have going on here. I'm not sure if we're gonna focus more on predators or some of the prey as well, but yeah, let's just go ahead and check this out. So remember, if you like my reactions, don't forget to leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next. That being said, let's go ahead and watch the video.
This episode was sponsored by Squarespace.
It's gonna appear from behind. Yep. See that? We're even getting a Skyrim reference for this one.
Of the 6 base stats in the game, stealth is perhaps the hardest one to optimize.
Mm-hmm.
Mastering stealth can open up countless new options in gameplay. It allows builds with low HP to avoid potentially game-ending encounters. It allows builds with lower mobility to get in range of players that could easily outspeed them. And it can enable DPS mains to strike before a tank player has the chance to raise their defenses. Stealth functions as one of the few counters to team strategies too, because if the target's teammates don't notice a problem, they won't come to the aid of their ally.
They didn't even know what happened.
Instead of talking about a specific build, server, or past game expansion, I'll talk about a general overview of the stealth strategies at various stat levels. The stealth stat is simply a measure of how difficult it is for other players to detect you in-game. At a low level, even players with no perception-based abilities will detect you even at a distance, while at a high level, even players with rare perception abilities might not detect you at all.
One of the animals that are best in camouflage, an octopus, or shit, what are they called again? Regardless, the octopus, cuttlefish, those types of animals.
Keep in mind that stealth is not limited to sight, but considers smell and sound as well.
Yeah.
So let's start with the lowest stealth levels. Believe it or not, it's actually kinda hard to achieve a rating this low. You have to deliberately choose skins or palette swaps that stand out from your surroundings. A rating this low can also be achieved by speccing into odor-based moves, like skunk spray. Having extremely low stealth can actually be a viable strategy for some builds. Poison is generally seen as a low-tier strategy, because it requires the user to take potentially fatal damage in order to actually activate its effect. But when used in combination with extremely bright colors, predators will realize that they should leave you alone without attacking first. Speccing into both poison and aesthetics costs a lot of evolution points though, so one other option is to only spec into bright colors and not actually put any points into poison.
Yeah.
The bright colors will still ward off players unwilling to risk their entire playthrough over one elimination, and this lets you invest those points into other abilities. Above this level, you start to see builds that don't necessarily try to be seen, but can't really hide their presence due to some of the attributes their character has, such as just being really massive. Even if they did invest into stealth abilities like camouflage, it wouldn't do enough to keep them hidden, so they end up sticking with basic color palette.
Imagine if you got elephants and they also have the skin pigments the same as with cuttlefish and octopus. It would be really funny, something that big try to camouflage itself in its environment.
palettes and relying on other strategies to protect
People
themselves.
that's a really
At
huge
this level, you can also
bush.
find builds that use camouflage, but don't get much benefit out of it simply because they have too strong an odor to hide. A little higher than this, and you have your basic color camouflage. This is the most common strategy in the current meta, simply because it doesn't cost much to spec into. It's surprisingly effective as long as the user keeps still and doesn't make any noise, although it requires you to keep to the areas that match your color in order to get the stealth bonus.
That's true.
Many of the game's most popular builds opt for this style, saving the bulk of their evolution points for other perks. One more step up and you reach patterns. This is the first form of advanced camouflage and offers two main advantages. First, it grants a massive stealth bonus if your pattern matches your surroundings exactly. But second, and perhaps more importantly, it breaks up your character's outline, meaning that even if an enemy player detects you, their attacks get an accuracy penalty, as it's difficult to tell where the player's hurtbox ends and their surroundings begin. One of the most common patterns is stripes, a pattern so effective that the most powerful stealth power hybrid in the game uses it. Above patterns you have textures. This is the highest possible level of stealth you can achieve using
leaf
basic
bugs.
camouflage. As long as you aren't moving, enemies will be totally unable to detect you, as long as you remain near the scenery that your build is designed to match. Reaching this level of stealth requires a huge amount of evolution points spent on modifying aesthetics. But believe it or not, we can go even higher. Texture is the highest level of advanced camouflage, but stealth goes far beyond that. Being able to hide while standing still is one thing, but the best stealth abilities work even on the move. Not getting detected while moving is difficult, and the most common strategy players use is to wait for the global stealth bonus that occurs every night. But while that inhibits sight-based detection, there's still the problem of being detected by sound. This is where abilities that allow the user to move silently come in handy, like
the owls fly so silently you can't even pick it up in sensitive microphones for the most part.
owl's special sound-reducing feathers,
Yeah.
or the cushion pads of a leopard. Using abilities like
cushion
this and
pads. I did not
combination
know
with
about a
camouflage
cushion
can really take your
pads.
stealth gameplay to the next level.
Oof.
But to really reach the top stealth level, you need camouflage that can function no matter which environment you're in. Several fish, frogs, and reptiles can change color, sometimes as a means of communication and sometimes for stealth purposes. But the absolute best stealth ability in the history of the game is the cephalopod's ability to change
cephalopods.
color,
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Cephalopods.
but also their shape and texture. This lets them match literally any surface in the ocean, giving them the maximum stealth rating achievable in the entire game. They also have the ink cloud ability,
and it's
that can be
also
used in a
so
pinch to
quick.
drop their opponent's accuracy to 0 for a short time. With all these options available to players, it might seem like stealth is overpowered.
Yoink.
So let me explain some of the potential counterplay options you can use in order to deal with stealth. The most common anti-stealth ability players use on both offense and defense is Smell. Smell is very difficult to mask and can give your presence away long before a player can see or hear you. In fact, if you invest enough evolution points into Smell, you can track someone for massive distances all the way across the map, regardless of their stealth abilities. However, there are many other options to deal with stealth strategies employed by your opponents. Many vertebrate builds come pre-equipped with the Tapetum ability, which allows them to see through darkness or deep sea much more effectively.
Yeah, it's basically
Vikings
night
have
vision.
The infrared sight ability, which completely negates the stealth abilities of any build that's part of the warm-blooded faction, making them extremely effective in the matchup. But the two most overpowered anti-stealth abilities are echolocation and electroreception, shared by the ocean's two top tiers, cetaceans and sharks respectively. Both of these abilities render stealth attempts completely useless and helpful.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have like the best hiding ability. If you basically for like echolocation or basically sonar when it comes to sea, those waves will bounce back from you, and if you're trained enough, you're probably gonna know the difference between like a rock and a how do you call this, and an octopus. Let's say with the electroreception thing with the sharks, they can probably tell that something is alive versus inanimate objects.
Balance the meta, to give conventional defense strategies like spikes and venom more of a purpose. Anyways, I hope the strategy guide helps some of you. I know stealth is a tough game mechanic to master, but if you design your build well enough, it becomes a lot more manageable. Another thing you can design in a more manageable way is your very own website, using today's sponsor, Squarespace.
Alright, I'm gonna skip that one. Yeah, really good video. When it comes to stealth, it's really hard to beat the cephalopods. I mean, they are built to hide. either from predators. Do they even have predators? Actually, I'm not sure about that. I haven't seen a lot of videos where the octopuses or octopodes are the ones getting attacked or getting hunted. So I'm not sure if the octopus has a natural predator. I mean, there probably are. There are a lot of fish big enough to eat it. So I don't know. I mean, they have the ink squirt defense mechanism for a reason. So yeah, if you know what predators octopuses might have, leave them down in the comments so that I may be enlightened as well. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Link to my Twitter is down in the description below. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. And if you're new here and enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next. That being said, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all next time. Bye!